Welcome to another Threes and TDs, a podcast all about the Carolina Panthers and the National Football League. Today, we've got some big news. Adam Thielen has been traded to the Minnesota Vikings. The Adam Thielen saga is finally over, I believe, and that's a good thing for everybody involved because while it did give us some really good, content, information, drama saga, whatever you want to call it, we need to focus on the important things, which is week one against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But look, I've said from the start, I think Minnesota is the one that initiated the talks for Adam. Like they did. And so what I wanted was, let's see if we can get a 3 or a 4. And ultimately, there's some pick swaps, which I think that's another thing we have to realize about Dan Morgan. He really likes this thing with pick swaps. Like, he is very big on the idea of pick swaps. He traded with Denver last draft, and there was like a super complicated pick swap situation. I think he really likes pick swaps because essentially what happens is the Panthers are getting a 4th round pick out of this. Now, we are sending a 5th round, we get a 4th round pick for next year's draft and the draft after that. And so a 4th round pick for next draft and a 5th round pick for next draft. And then we send them a 5th round pick for the 2027 draft in a conditional 2028 7th round picks, which is like whatever. But that's essentially the trade details. The trade details are that we get a 2024 4th round pick for a man that's going to retire. And for me, that's been the whole thing with this thing is Minnesota is the one that initiated this. There was a really good tweet. Let me see if I can find it real quick because it highlighted so much of what. It was a really good summary from an analytics perspective on what I think is happening here. But let me see if I can find it. Probably should have done this before. So this guy's name is Anthony Reinhard, and he is football analytics. He has a Substack, which is really good. And essentially he says, without accounting for time value of picks, I have this as a $10 million surplus value win for Carolina. Considering the Vikings will pay $7 million for Thielen this year, he needs to be a plus wide receiver to justify the costs. Not good business for Minnesota. And here's where I'm at with the stuff. I think that Minnesota is a wonderfully run organization. And I'm not just I've said that from the start. This organization is really well run. Their coach is good. Their GM is good. Their scouting is good. Their ownership is good. Their players are good. There's so much of what they do that's actually good. And so it's okay that they lost this trade because so much of everything else they do, getting conditional picks, drafting well, so much of everything else that they do is excellent. It's just phenomenal. So because of that, you had a need. Let's break this down. You had a need. The need that you had was getting a wide receiver. Jordan Addison wasn't playing until week 3 or 4, and you had a couple other injuries at wide receiver, which means you had Justin Jefferson, and that's it. Maybe some other guys that weren't going to contribute. You needed a guy. So there was a desperation for Minnesota in getting this guy. That's fine. It's fine that there was a desperation. You don't have to win every deal. But giving up a 4th, and some might say, well, they're going to pick later on. It's still a 4th round for a guy that is going to retire next year at the end of this year. So to me, that's just really good business. Adam Thielen's wife is really excited. I know that some Panthers fans have been like, they didn't want to be here. Look, it's their home. It's their home. To me, the issue is not whether we should have sent him home or not. It's that Vikings fans thought that a 6th or 7th round pick was enough. And Vikings fans on Twitter essentially saying, oh my gosh, you're holding him hostage. He was under contract with us. So anyways, Adam Thielen gets traded. That saga's over. We can worry about week 1. Other important news. I wanted to cover 2 things. News item number 1. Dave Canales in his presser today essentially said Hunter Renfrow is invited to come back. Like, we want him on our team, but it's going to be up to Adam if that's what he wants to. So it sounds like Hunter Renfrow is mulling the decision, thinking about it, considering it. So that's just something to think about. It's not, I thought for sure that he would be a lock to come back on the team. Hunter's still considering it. Number 2, Icky. It looks like, let me see if I can pull up the news article, but it looks like Icky's status for week 1 is up in the air after the appendectomy. I think I'm saying that right. Appendectomy. So yeah, this is why I was so fine with having so much offensive line depth, because you're keeping a strength. How has Dan Morgan rebuilt this thing? He's rebuilt it by, what did he do his first offseason? The offensive line. You paid Robert Hunt $20 million. You paid Damian Lewis whatever you paid him from Seattle. You fortified that offensive line. And you also fortified the wide receiver room. Today, I was a little surprised because the waiver wire claims I thought for sure would be a linebacker. It wasn't. It was a cornerback from Denver that had familiarity with Evero's system. And and it was a wide receiver from the Chargers. And to me, at first, I was like, man, I'm not sure I like this. But the more I thought about it, the more I was like, Dan Morgan and company want to keep a strength. So I'm all for it. I really like that. Sure, do we need linebacker help? Do I think it's a little risky that they're essentially saying, well, we'll see what happens? Evero must be really confident in these 4 guys. Trevin Wallace, Christian. I would need to look up the other 2 guys. That's how non-confident I am in this linebacker room, but we'll see. We'll have more tomorrow, but those are big news today. Tomorrow, so this is Wednesday night. This will get released tomorrow morning. And then after that, we got a week till the NFL season starts. All right. Thanks for coming. Like, subscribe, comment. All that stuff helps. Y'all know that. And see y'all on the next one.